Live from King's Place in London, the Spontaneity Shop presents the Guilty Feminist with me, Never Hot White, and a very special guest, Zoe Brownstone, Jessica Regan, Cheka, Sara, Barr, and Alison Spittle. Hello, and welcome to the Guilty Feminist. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. We've got a very special evening for you tonight. We are having acts who are taking their shows to Edinburgh this year that could in some way, shape or form be described as feminist and guilty. That's the deal. I was like, are you feminist? They were like, yes. I was like, but are you guilty? And some of them were like, no. I was like, you cannot come. So who's going to the Edinburgh Festival this year? Okay. Well, then you are getting to go to the Edinburgh Festival tonight. You are going to see 5 acts. And those 5 acts are all going to do a little bit of their show. So this is Edinburgh in a night. Now, I believe that some of you will be so seduced by these acts, you'll think, I can't just see 5 to 10 minutes of you. I'm going to need to go to Edinburgh to see your full hour show. So this show is basically a seduction dance to try and lure you up to Scotland in August. Just give us a cheer if you're open to going to the Edinburgh Festival if these acts are so good you can't stop yourself. Excellent. Give us a cheer if you just are not available the whole of August. Okay, all right. So you, it's not that you're dead to us, it's just that, no, for you, these acts, many of them will come down to London after the Fringe, and they'll probably do their show at the Soho Theatre or somewhere like that, or they'll do it on tour around the UK. So if you absolutely can't make it to Edinburgh, you're listening at home and you think, I'd love to go to Edinburgh, but I can't make it, I'm in New Zealand. Don't worry, the acts will be, some of them will be touring their shows, hopefully around the world. And if you're thinking, but I'm in London and I can't get there, don't worry, it'll probably be coming to a place in London. But you can follow all of these amazing comedians on Instagram and other socials so that you can see where they're going. And we can put out little notifications on our socials when they're coming to a place near you. And this is what's great is you are a test audience as well. Depending on what you go for and what you don't go for, they might change some of it before they hit the Fringe. So that you have a very special place in the development of their show. What I'm saying is you're powerful. Far more powerful than you realise. So just give us a cheer so we can feel the warmth. Excellent. Can I ask you, just to sort of kick us off and get us going, who's listened to The Guilty Feminist before? Who doesn't know what they're at? Okay, just a couple of you, and you'd be good in a police state. Someone's going, there's one here. Usually it's a podcast where 2 people speak, there's some stand-up comedy, there's a guest, and it's a sort of formatted show. But this is an Edinburgh special. But we will be doing that after the break. So just to warm us up on that front, just give us a cheer if you believe you have a feminist job. Could be your real job that you get paid for, could be a voluntary position, or something else that you do activism on the side. But if you believe you've got a feminist job, give us a cheer. If you believe you've got an unfeminist job, give us a cheer. Oh, more people believe they've got an unfeminist job in this room. Who reckons they've got the most feminist job in the room? Woo! Excellent. What's your job?
Oh, dear. I don't know if you want to ask me that.
I do want to ask you because you've gone, woo, I've got the most feminist job. I feel we all knew where it was going. I made no secret of it. I built to it gently. What's your job?
I work in a sexual assault referral centre.
Oh, you work in a sexual assault referral centre. No, that's a wonderful thing to do. This is the Guilty Feminist. You can talk about that. Adults who've experienced horrible things. And children. Do you need money? Do you need help? Do you need volunteers? What do you need?
So luckily we are the NHS. If anyone wants to, I don't know where I'm going with this.
Amplify or tell other people about the services?
Yeah, tell me about SARCs. Everyone always talks about SARCs. We are there for literally every single person that needs us. Doesn't matter when something has happened to you. If you need someone to talk to, call the Haven or the Bridge or the St Mary's or anywhere else in the country.
Okay, so it's called SARCs, just for the people at home. It's called SARCs, and SARCs stands for Sexual Assault Referral Centre.
Yeah.
Sexual Assault Referral Centre, the SARS. SAR.
Yeah.
Centres with a C. I just realised. SARC. So wherever you are, you can Google your local SARC, S-A-R-C, and you can go and have a conversation, and that's on the NHS.
Absolutely, 100%. We are completely NHS funded.
Completely NHS funded.
Any support.
If anybody needs any support,
Don't ever hesitate.
don't hesitate. Okay. That's a wonderful thing. Wonderful, wonderful thing. Anybody else got a feminist job or project on that they need help with? Give us a cheer. Yes, what's yours? You do marketing for women that run their own businesses? Excellent. One of them is called Sustainable Femtech Network. There's no C in it to disrupt me. Excellent. Thank you. Thank God. Thank God. Sustainable Femtech Network. And so that sounds like women with tech businesses?
Yes, but specifically, women are more affected by climate change than women and children.
Women and children are more affected by climate change.
So this network is how can women who are working in tech, medtech, femtech, sex tech, more sustainable in their approach.
So how women in femtech, sex tech, medtech, any word plus tech can take any word plus tech can be more sustainable, and you consult on that and link people up together. So if anyone wanted to know what your company was, do you have a URL? Sustainable Femtech Network. Any women here run their own business? That was a lower turnout than the election. Okay, so just one, two, three. If you run your own business, or you know a woman, or does it a woman and people of minority genders can apply to?
Sustainable Femtech Network is for anyone. If you're researching,
Okay. All right. So if you are a woman or a person of marginalised gender who runs their own business, or you know somebody like that, can you give us a cheer? Great. So send them over to, what's your name?
my name's Paige.
Paige. Excellent. Excellent. And Paige, can you just wave so everyone knows what you look like, because they want to talk to you in the interval? Excellent. Lovely. Also, just give us a wave if you're single. Everyone look around. This is Hinge Live. There's a whole interval. You know that they're feminist. It's useful. Just look again. Quick look. Wave if you're single. And open to being spoken to in the interval. Excellent. I think it's a great thing to do, because dating apps are awful. And do you know what's really nice? Just saying, can I buy you a drink? Like it's 1948. Just, can I buy you a drink? Yeah. That'll be really nice. You could have a little chat in the interval. It's very safe. Because if you don't like them, there are 2 exits at the end of the show. So that's nice. That's useful. Who reckons they've got an unfeminist job? Yes, you do? What's your name? Bruce. You've got what a brave man, Bruce. I don't want to assume your gender. Are you in fact a man? Yes. And Bruce, what's your unfeminist job?
I'm a sales manager.
A sales manager. What do you sell, Bruce?
Sponsorship at the delegate places at conferences.
Sponsorship on conferences. Okay, I'm going to ask you this, Bruce. Usually, when I say, who's got an unfeminist job, someone says, I have, but then I interrogate them further and I discover that they are, in fact, doing Trojan horse feminism. In some way, shape or form, they are secretly doing feminism in their job. And in fact, I believe that these people are the most feminist people in the world. The people that are going, I work in literacy, great, wonderful, we need you, of course. But the people, like one woman in this very room not long ago, who said, I advise very rich men as to how to invest their money. And sometimes I tell them to invest in things that will not make them a penny, but they are really feminist causes. And I said, isn't that illegal? And she went, I mean, probably, but I don't really like it, so I don't mind. I like doing 3 to 6 months in a minimum security prison. I think that's a real offering for feminism. So, Bruce, can I ask you, do you do any lightweight or backdoor feminism, as it were? Backdoor feminism. Okay, let me rephrase that, Bruce. Bruce has looked confused as to what he's being asked. Understandably, the man is panicked. He doesn't want to say the wrong thing in this room. He regrets making direct eye contact with me, but it's too late now. He's gone there. Bruce, have you ever done anything feminist in your role?
Well, actually, I just finished working on women in finance.
Finished working on women in finance. Okay. My problem with women in finance, and my question around it is the job of feminism to create as many female billionaires as male billionaires? Because if it is, I might be out. I might be done with feminism. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'm like, what are we doing now? We're trying to get more billionaire women on the moon. I don't understand I've lost the direction. So when you're doing women in finance, are there any corporate responsibility pieces within that where you feel like, well, we're trying to make it fairer and better?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there definitely are. Bruce says there definitely are. He's not named any, but I need to start the show, so I'm going to trust him. Bruce, if you have any funding that available for performers or art, if you can think of anything you could do, someone's got a little pot of money, corporate responsibility money, and they want to promote women in the arts, I've got a great idea. I am now going to show you 5 women in the arts. They're all going to Edinburgh. Do you know how much money you make on average in Edinburgh? One of the acts backstage was saying, if I sell all of my seats and then half of the seats that are not available again, if I sell 1.5 times my audience, I will still lose money. So this would be a great place to develop. So Bruce, I'm counting on you to at least have rich friends. Are you with me, Bruce?
I am, but I don't have any.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think you're going to think about it while you're watching it, and you're going to think, I know how I could do this. I could do like a little, thing. I feel, Bruce, that the reason you've been sent here today is to take the emotional labour off the people that normally do it. And you've got inspiration there, Bruce, in your eyes, I can see it. And I know that you have influence, and even £1,000 would make an enormous difference. So, Bruce, I'm just going to leave it with you, okay? And I may come back to you in the interval to see how we're going with that project in your head. You may not be here. Are you with Bruce? Yeah. He is not to leave the building. What's your name? Bronwyn. Are you with Bruce? Bruce introduced you to the podcast. Are you a couple, or was he trying to sleep with you at the time? Because that's a big one. The number of men who are like, on the 3rd date, I'm just so feminist. Do you know my favourite podcast, The Guilty Feminist? It's really funny, and I've learned so much. But you are an actual couple, and he's introduced you. Bruce, God bless you. Bronwyn, work on him, though, yeah. It's not enough just to come to a podcast, Bruce. Poor Bruce. He just wanted to have a nice night out. That's ruined. All right. Are we ready for some Edinburgh lols? Our first act is a writer-comedian who was the runner-up in the OF comedy competition, and whose show, A Bite of Yours, will be at the Pleasance Courtyard every day at 7:15. Please put your hands together and make incredible woohooing noises for the wonderful Zoe Brownstone.
Oh, hello, King's Place. How are you? This is so nice. So great to be here. My name is Zoe. I'm from Canada. Thank you. Are you Canadian or just a fan? Just a fan. No, that's great. Honestly, I love that. When I do comedy in this country, it gets a cheer. That's adorable. It's so sweet. I find it is the best way to introduce myself when I do stand-up as a Canadian. Otherwise, you hear my accent and you assume that I'm probably armed. So I'm from Canada. Too soon? Okay. From Canada. I live here now, though. I live in London. I absolutely love it here in London. I am in therapy. Thank you for asking. Who's in therapy? Of course. We live in London. We have to be in therapy. I'm in therapy. It's going. It's going. My therapist is very good at her job. She's a little sleuth. We're finding out stuff I don't think I really wanted to know. In fact, I don't like spoilers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fan of spoilers. I once ended a relationship with someone because he ruined the end of Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, no idea that Darth Vader was white. That was a bummer to find that out. Don't like spoilers. I don't want to know who caused the trauma. Like, was it mom? Was it dad? Yes. But we're learning stuff. We're learning stuff in therapy. I learned recently in a session that I have an eating disorder. Didn't know that. Didn't want to know that. The plan was for that to just be a gift I would give to my daughter someday. So but I know now, you can't unhear that. I know that now. My therapist, she tried to reassure me. She was like, don't worry, Zoe, it's a very common eating disorder. The clinical diagnosis is female. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole name of it. That's my first problem. My second problem is that I'm a hopeless romantic. Any other unwell people in the room? Yes. This is what I'm writing an hour of comedy about because it is ruining my life. I am trying to cure romance, okay? I am sick of being a hopeless romantic. It's exhausting, all right? All the typical cliches, like I look for love in all the wrong places, like comedy shows, live podcast recordings, family reunions. It's not healthy. It's not good. But that's the state I find myself in. I find like there's an opportunity for romance anywhere, like during a sunset or a thunderstorm or like I insist on full eye contact with someone during a smear test, you know what I mean? Like it could happen anywhere. I think the term hopeless romantic is sexist. Personally, I do think that, right? Like when a man is a hopeless romantic, it's like, oh wow, like he's showing up, he's doing the work, he's got emotions. And when a woman is a hopeless romantic, it's like, oh wow, she's showing up, she's doing the work, she's got emotions. It's not the same, it hits different. I think in my attempts to cure my hopeless romance, I pursue meaningless sex. Anybody else? You know about meaningless sex, right? Sex with comedians, we've heard about this. Meaningless sex. I always think that that's going to fix it. That's going to cut off any type of emotional entanglement, but it never works. It just leaves me with more questions, like why do men have nipples but no empathy? Do you have to pee after sex if you've peed a little during sex? Why is it called dry humping when it makes my jeans so wet? It's confusing. Why doesn't Dyson make sex toys? That's a real one. That's a real thought that I had. Are you kidding me? We know about Dyson. We've heard of Dyson, world's strongest vacuum. What? Ladies, you're telling me you've never walked up to one of those fancy hand dryers at the movie theater? You know the one, right? You know this guy? Why is that made for my hands? Just gonna do this for another 3 minutes. Come on, you've never looked at one of these and thought I wonder, am I thin enough to fit my entire... Don't try it, they'll ban you from Weatherspoons. Don't do that, they don't like it. I'm worried about this romance thing. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out mostly for myself, but also for the next generation. I have a nephew who I'm obsessed with. His name is Max. He's 4. He's my best friend. Great guy, really cool guy. And I didn't know this, but at 4 is a very interesting age. At 4, he's learning how to lie. Incredible. It's endlessly entertaining. He's terrible at it. We were together recently. We were having dinner, and my sister was like, Max, eat your vegetables. And he was like, I did eat my vegetables. And we're like, motherfucker, we can see them on the plate. Bad at lying. Get better at it. Without skipping a beat, though, he's like, those are not my vegetables. He's graduated from lying to gaslighting. And I'm terrified because he's one negative comment away from being the perfect boyfriend. So we're scared. That's been me. I'm Zoe Brownstone. Thank you.
Zoe, come take a seat. Thank you so much. Welcome back to The Guilty Feminist.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Zoe, do you have an I'm a Feminist but for us, just to kick us off?
I do. I do, and it's a little controversial. Okay, I'm a feminist, but I'm kind of excited for AI to take my job.
Wow.
I said it. It's political now.
No, I understand. There are days when none of us want to do our job. And
right?
We're just could robots tell jokes?
Yes, they can.
Bad ones, though.
Yes.
Have you ever asked ChatGPT for a joke?
ChatGPT wrote most of my comedy hour.
That is not true.
That is not true, but it helps. It does help.
That is not true. Can you tell us what inspired you to write your hour and what the thrust of it is? Why should these lovely people get a train to Edinburgh and find a hotel room? to see your comedy hour.
Or bring a tent. That's also an option. Okay. It's inspired by true events, and I'll tell you, it's a cautionary tale, and I am trying to cure romance for myself. Like, I've fallen for, like, all the traps and trimmings of romance. The last 5 years of my life has just been an endless rom-com without a lot of the calm. So I've put the calm into an hour, and that's the show. And it's I've been doing a lot of previews, and I've had people tell me, like, wow, I'm never going to do anything that you ever did. So I think it's helping.
Excellent. So it's a public service. Are you single at the moment, Zoe?
You have to come and see the show to find out the answer to that.
Am I in danger of a spoiler there?
Kind of, but it's like, listen, I've been writing the show for the last year, this hour. For the last year, I promise, I didn't just write it. I've been writing it for the last year, and it's changed so much. There's 2 weeks left until Edinburgh. Honestly, the ending of the show could be rapidly different.
Wow. Oh, that's
anyone's guess.
Exciting.
Yes.
That's really exciting. So you really are speaking the truth on the stage.
100%, for better or for worse.
Excellent. So what can you tell us? Is there anything guilty about your show, and is there anything feminist about your show?
Okay. I defend the romantic comedies of the 90s in the show because I was raised on them, and they're hugely problematic. Like, a lot of the movies that I thought I learned what love was from a lot of these, like, Drew Barrymore films and Reese Withers, like, you know, the movies we came up on in North America. I don't know if it's different in the UK. Notting Hill.
Yeah. Bridget Jones.
And I stand by them. I know they're problematic, but I'm the woman I am today because of them.
Well, do you know my argument about this? I wrote about this in my book, that I think is valid. Action films and men's films or war films always get so much more cred than rom-coms. But show me another genre where women are so proactive and go after what they want.
Totally.
So it's not that we don't want to see films about women getting to the moon. It's just that there aren't any. The films about women getting out of bed and going after something are usually rom-coms.
And it's hard to get out of bed and go after something. Like, no one's saying the truth of that.
But I think also there is something to be said for the fact that love is not less valid than violence. And rom-coms are about love. Why are they stupider than films about people shooting each other? I don't understand it. We all need love. We all need connection. We all want to be seen. And rom-coms are about those things. Sometimes it's a bit like, you remember when Harry Styles said, he was asked about, what do you think about, some snide journalist was saying, that only teenage girls like your music. And he said, what's wrong with what teenage girls like?
Yeah,
why are teenage girls less important than 45-year-old men?
Yeah.
Like, that's just the denigration of, well, if you like it, it can't be any good.
Yeah.
So I want rom-coms to elevate, but I don't want rom-coms to go away.
No, and something I'm sort of trying to figure out in the hour is, like, the rom-com of the 90s has changed. Like, we don't have, the moral is different. The hero winning is different now than it was back then. A woman being alone is, like, an exciting thing now, whereas in the 90s it was like, shh, don't talk about that. Like, that was embarrassing. And I think that's a good thing. We should have more realistic standards of what our lives look like now. But I also think that, like, the moral hasn't shifted for other genres of film. Like, an action movie is still an action movie. And I don't know, I'm fascinated by, like, the judgment that a rom-com gets. I also make the argument in the hour, which I haven't yet proven, that all films are romantic comedies. So I'm really going to die on this hill.
That's interesting. All films are romantic comedies.
Yes.
So something like Saving Private Ryan is a rom-com because they're going off to find Private Ryan.
Yes.
Right? They're not going to give up till they find him.
No, it's a story about men making a commitment. Maybe they kiss, we just didn't see it.
Yeah. I've never seen it, but I assume that it ends with Matt Damon kissing somebody.
It's everybody kissing
Excellent.
At the end.
Oh my God, can I put this to the test? So, name a movie, Bruce.
Let's go, Bruce.
Name a non-rom-com movie. What's your favourite movie, Bruce? The Third Man.
Something we've heard of.
The Third Man's like a...
It's the most anti-feminist answer, also, The Third Man.
The Third Man is a very good movie. It's a film... It's an Orson Welles film noir. Thank you. Orson Welles film noir, yeah. But it's really like about, it's like spies and It's a sort of, lots of shadows and... I sounded erudite for a while, and I'm really running out. I've watched it more than once, but can you just tell us the top line plot so she can tell you why it's a rom-com?
Well, there is a romance in it. I mean,
okay, that doesn't help us.
You didn't get the assignment, Bruce.
Okay, so we need a movie that's not a what's the non-romance
classic, not
bit?
like what you think is not a rom-com.
it's a crime story. It's a film noir.
Yeah,
That
that's
sounds
right.
funny.
Okay, so, all right, I'm going to give you one.
Okay.
Die Hard. Why is Die Hard a rom-com?
Thank you so much for saying that answer. That's a perfect answer. Okay, Die Hard. Perfect. Okay, first of all, it is a rom-com because man is trying to save his, which one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
I'm out of my depth.
Okay. Because one could make the argument that the overarching theme of all the Die Hard films is that man falls in love with gun, marries gun, the end. Thank you so much. I would say the plot of the first Die Hard film is man is trying to get to his wife, and for Christmas, and she's been taken hostage in Nakatomi Plaza. We know what I'm talking about, right? And so man has to have a sort of homoerotic interaction with a lot of Russians in order to get to her. Mic drop.
Anyone got a movie that they believe cannot go through Zoe's test? Anyone want to shout out something, give her a really, really hard challenge?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Schindler's List. Oh my God.
I can say this because I'm Jewish. Man falls in love with all of the Jews. The end. Thank you.
The Fast and the Furious.
Oh, Deborah, please. Man falls in love with all of the cars. The end. I mean, we're losing the plot a little.
All right. I'm delighted to see this. I think your show is both guilty and feminist, and I'm very excited to see it. Where will it be on in Edinburgh?
The show is at the Pleasance, Bunker 3 at 7:15 every night except for August 13th. I'm going to take one day off.
Okay, and I advise you get the fuck out of Edinburgh on that day. Whatever you do, just get out, because you lose perspective up there and you're just like, it's all about how many stars people get. And if you just go to the beach or something, or go up, just get out.
Great.
You see people that don't care or know. So for your sanity.
Thank you.
I once had to come back to London for a meeting, and I got off the train and no one gave a fuck about anything in Edinburgh. And it was I went, none of it matters.
No one was flyering you at
Nobody
King's Cross
cared.
Station.
And no one was going, I saw that review you got. I thought it was really unfair. Which just happens all the time in Edinburgh. Not to me, obviously. I only get good reviews. All right. So, and will it be coming to London afterwards?
I hope so. Yeah, that would
and
be
on
wonderful.
tour?
Yes,
okay.
that would be great.
All right. So look out for it. It's called
A Bite of Yours.
A Bite of Yours by Zoe Brownstone. Go see it at the Pleasance. Put your hands together and make incredible hooing noises for Zoe Brownstone.
Thank you so much.
Our next act is a writer, performer, who you may know from Doctors, Ill Behaviour or Silent Witness, and many other theatre shows and TV shows. This is a storytelling show, and it's under theatre in the guide. It's not stand-up comedy. It's an incredible story, though, and you are going to love it. It's called 16 Postcodes, and it's at the Pleasance Courtyard every day at 3:30 p.m. Please put your hands together and make incredible guilty feminist welcoming noises for Jessica Regan.
Hello, hi. We're going to do some theatre now. It's going to be very serious, and it's all going to be in this voice. No, it's fine. So I'm doing a show called 16 Postcodes because I've lived in 16 postcodes in London, and I'm going to tell you about one tonight. You never forget your first time. Everyone's like, oh my God, it's going to happen. Just you wait, it's going to happen when you least expect it. And then it does. And you're like, wow, what they say is true. It is a big deal, no matter how much I try and play it down. I feel fundamentally altered as a person and just, I don't know, like different somehow. My first time that I was attacked in London or anywhere was in Camberwell in 2006. A straightforward mugging, street crime, missionary style. 1 minute, I'm walking home with my pal after a night out. The next, she's on the ground, legs flailing, holding onto her bag for dear life, until eventually the guy gives up and gets away with mine, which has a tenner and some old mascara. My keys and wallet and Oyster card were blessedly in the many pockets of my early naughty style cargo pants. Not that you asked what I was wearing. Nobody does when you're mugged. Let me tell you a bit about what happened if you got mugged in 2006. You got a detective assigned to your case. DC Scott informs me that he doesn't care this guy only got away with a tenner. It was an attack, and it mattered, and I mattered, and did I want the number of this counselling helpline? I quite like your number, DC Scott, with all this height and humanity you have going on. But you had to be fearless in 2006 to move freely. You had to. There was no sharing of location, no dropping of pin, no Uber. We just raw-dogged our journey home on night buses with headphones in, taking shortcuts like it's nothing. So something had to happen, right? So I'd been mugged, but I had been warned. What no one really warns you about in London is the mice. I grew up in the country in Ireland in a place without a postcode, and I saw one mouse the entire time that I was growing up. One. And honestly, it was like something out of Disney. A little furry brown thing. Oh my God, I'm actually mortified you caught me there. Oh my God, like honestly, I'm just going from A to B. Like I'll be out of your hair. Come here, you're looking well. Okay, bye. I first met London mice in that flat in Camberwell. They were discreet at first. Little darts out of the corner of my eye. If I entered a room suddenly, so slight and so fast, I thought, I'm imagining it. Because honestly, how could they get in? We're high up. I was so naive. So bloody naive. We call the landlords who tell us to call the council, who inform us that our poison doesn't actually kill them, but it does make them infertile. What? Okay. We call exterminators again and again, but it was ceaseless. My normally fierce, unflappable housemate enters rooms, turning lights on and off, clapping like she's giving them a standing ovation to be spared the sight of them, but they don't give a shit. After a while, they no longer scurry, taking their own sweet time despite our screams. When they penetrate our fridge, we know it's game over. Squinting irritably at the light because apparently we've interrupted their dinner party. Sorry, do you mind? We're in the middle of supper. Just about to have a cheese course, unless you brought some figs or prosciutto, could you? Yeah, sorry. I know, they're so rude. That's what I was saying to Margot. They're so rude. They had well and truly won. It was their flat now. In the weeks leading up to our departure, I decided that we have to do a deep clean. Now, we're not staying there much, and oddly enough, we don't see much evidence of the mice. They could be throwing house parties or doing victory laps on the threadbare carpet, but we don't see any evidence of them. But still, huge sums of money had been held hostage by a previous postcode's cunt of a landlord over a coffee ring, and was only relinquished when I told him my father is a solicitor. And he can't wait to meet you. My father's not a solicitor. I was acting. So yeah, I'm taking no chances. I'm going to scrub and scour this cursed joint. After a fairly vigorous but futile effort, I take my ease on the sunken couch, enjoying the bleach blotting out the usual ghost smells for a change, when a creature the size of a small child, a small hairy child, waddles out from under the sofa. It has patchy grey fur, a long pink tail, and a fat ass, just sashaying away to our square foot of a balcony. Womp, womp, womp. He pauses, looks me in the eye, as if to say, that's what I fucking thought. Not a word out of you. And then he put out his cigarette. No, he didn't. sometimes things aren't as bad as they seem. Sometimes they're so much worse. Thank you very much.
Jessica Regan, come and join me here. Oh, thank you and welcome back to The Guilty Feminist.
It's great to be back. Yay!
I loved that. So can you tell us a little bit about the show and how it works?
Well, basically, lived in 16 postcodes. That's too many postcodes, some would say. It's
So
excessive.
16 in London?
In London.
And you
yeah.
say you came from a place in Ireland that didn't have a postcode?
No, they have them now, but only in the last sort of 10 years, you know.
Oh, really? So when you were a kid, they would just say your street name and your mum and dad's name and...
Oh, Deborah, what street name? Oh.
Would just say what Mr. and Mrs. Regan's
Well,
house?
honestly, stuff would get to like Michael in Longford, brother of Pat. Like, you know, now it's not as extreme as that, but you know, we lived in an area called Darren and it was just like Regan's Darren
Wow.
Now, my mother, because she has notions, which I love about her, called the house Sublimity. I didn't scrape it off the wall, lads. You know what I mean? Our address was Sublimity, Darren. But like Sublimity is a state of mind, so you know we were lucky we got anything.
Absolutely. But so you moved to London, and how many years have you had 16 postcodes?
20 years, 16 postcodes.
20. Wow. So you've nearly lived in a flat per year.
Yeah, pretty
Wow.
much. Yeah.
So you know London well.
I do.
And in those over those 20 years, you've got a story about every single postcode you've ever lived in.
Yeah, something went down. You know, something happened at each one. So it's not kind of like a kind of a David Copperfield. I was born and then I went here and then I went here. I kind of wanted to show that chaos of London and that peripatetic way that we live here, that kind of nomadic, kind of chaotic way. So what I'm doing in the show is that the audience will select the postcodes they want to see. So it'll be a different show every time, you know. We'll probably have time for about 4 or 5. And you're going to help me kind of curate the selection of the day. We'll go north, south, east, west. We'll go all over.
So you could see the show several times and never see the same stories?
Absolutely, yeah.
Excellent.
And then the last sort of epilogue and wrapping up will be based on kind of, you know, how those postcodes interacted with each other. Like maybe the different themes will come through, basically.
So how many shows are you writing and previewing effectively? Because this isn't one show. Every show will be different, and then you've got to link them at the end. So you must be writing effectively like 5 to 10 shows.
Well, no, it's more, I'm writing 16 postcodes.
Yes.
16 monologues.
Yes.
Although, truthfully, 1 or 2 might be folded into the mix.
Okay.
Because 16 is excessive, as I said. You know, so some go together. Some are like,
Right,
you know,
okay.
yeah. So we have a couple of pairings, because, you know, Edinburgh. And so it's the audience will select it, and I'll be like a human jukebox, if you will.
Excellent. So if you come along, do they shout out postcodes or do they pick them off a wall?
I think I'm going to like find the person that looks trustworthy and they're going to pick one and I'll see what the vibe is. If they seem game, they might pick all of them.
Because I'd want to shout out, if I'd lived somewhere, I'd want to shout out for that postcode. So presumably
Totally.
people will come out and ask for those postcodes. But can I ask, is there anything guilty and anything feminist about this show?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think what's guilty about it, I think sometimes is not every postcode passes the Bechdel test. You know,
I see.
Some are about the boys.
Okay.
More than I thought. And when I was sort of doing them all, I was like, oh, all right, can we ring fence some of this? Like, this is, yeah. So,
I see. Bruce, as a feminist, could you just quickly describe the Bechdel test for some people who might not know? Do you know what the Bechdel test is?
I do. I'm going to have to dig deep now.
Bruce is digging deep. Bechdel test is you're watching a movie like The Third Man.
Yeah.
The Third Man won't pass it, just to be clear. And the question is, in The Third Man, there's 3 men, clearly, Third Man. Yeah. Are there 2 women?
Yeah.
And do they talk about something other than a... So, well done, Bruce.
You got that, Bruce. Give it up for Bruce, guys.
Well done, Bruce.
We did it,
Something
London.
other than a man. And ideally, they've both got to have a name. It can't just be waitress talking to hot mom. So that's the guilty side.
Yeah.
And the feminist side, I mean, I can see it quite clearly. You're a woman who's had to move around and front up everywhere that you've been.
Yeah.
And
I carry
take
my
on
own
landlords.
bags. I think that's the feminist thing.
Carry your own bags.
Carry my own
Yeah,
bags.
Yeah.
Shout out if you carry your own bags, gang.
Yeah. And you're fronting up to landlords and thug mice and
story.
muggers and all sorts.
All sorts.
So I think it's a really beautiful kind of moving. It's a really, because it's very simple. It's something we can all relate to, which is, or many of us. I think probably most people in London can certainly relate to it. But I think wherever you're from, you can relate to that feeling of, I've just got to show up, whether it's a new school, whether it's a new job or whatever, and I don't know my way around, and I'm just going to have to work it out. Just as a round of applause, if you live in London, if you've had more than one postcode, would give us a cheer. If you've had more than 5 postcodes, give us a cheer. If you've had more than 7 postcodes, give us a cheer. Can anyone do better than 7? Yeah. How many have you had? I think at least maybe 12 or 13. Anyone do better than that? Yes, you can, Jess Regan.
Me, 16. Thank you very
16.
much. Yeah. No.
Brings us back to 16 postcards. Where can we see it?
You can see it at Bunker 1 at the Pleasance Courtyard every day except the 12th. That's the day off. And I will take your advice that you get
out of Dodge.
Get out of Dodge. It's on at 3:30 p.m. So it's that lovely time, gang. After lunch, before the pod.
Ready for a story.
Just ready for a little story time from me.
Excellent. Go and see it. And will it be coming to London and on tour after that?
Absolutely the hope. The thing about this show is it's like how I've had to be in London. It's mutable. I can do it over a pub. I could do it in the West End with full support. Like, we could do it anywhere. Honestly, we could put it on the Barn, because that's kind of, I've had to adapt all these spaces, so I wanted to make sure that it could kind of go anywhere. So we'll see what the future holds, but I hope I'm still doing it in like a few years.
I do
love
too.
This show.
And Bruce is actually a theatre angel, but only for feminist shows. Have you been thinking on that, Bruce? Have you? Were you impressed by this? I was very impressed by this. You loved it, yeah. Are you thinking about going to Edinburgh to see it?
I would love to, but my work might be too hard.
Your work might be too hard. Well, don't worry. You can help to produce it in London afterwards.
Yeah. Absolutely, Bruce.
Yeah, you can help to find us money. You live in Camberwell.
Oh, there you go.
So you've met the mugger and the mice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Jess, we're very, very excited to see your show, whether we get to Edinburgh or London or somewhere else. I know that there's plans to tour it, and I'm very excited. I think it's very, very charming. It was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah. Thanks so much. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you. We continue with a globe-trotting comedian. We're back to stand-up. Her journey began in Berlin, and now she's heading to Edinburgh for her show A Messiah Comes. It'll be at Hoots at Potterrow every day at 12:25. Please welcome to the stage, Kate Cheka!
Hi, you guys all right? Okay, good. It's always good to check, because I always feel like it's such a stressful time to be a human right now, right? Yeah, I think we can all agree it's a bad time to be a person. Yeah, we're nodding. Okay, you agree. I don't want to brag or anything, though. My mental health has actually been very good this year. Yeah, it's been really good. And the trick to that is just leave the UK in the winter. Just leave. Just get out and go. So that's what I did this winter. I just left the UK and I went to New Orleans. Yeah. Has anyone here been to New Orleans? Yeah. Did you like it? Yeah, it's really good, right? Okay, so like if you haven't been, imagine London, but everyone's really friendly. And also black, which is better. And then also really gay. Yeah, they don't tell you, but it's like this really gay city. Like I was there for Easter and there was a gay Easter parade. And it turns out I love gay Easter, way better than regular Easter. So good. And I've been thinking about it, and I think Easter is the gayest of the Christian holidays. Because I used to live in Berlin and I'd have gay friends that would disappear on a Friday and we wouldn't see them again till Monday. It's like, oh, when did you last see him? Hanging out with 12 other men. And then one of them kissed him on the cheek and then later stabbed him in the back. Pretty gay. Yeah. And then he got nailed on a hilltop between 2 other men. My dream. It's important to have fantasies. Speaking of fantasies, is anyone here planning on having a threesome tonight? I'm not inviting myself to it or anything, but like I'm free after this, so I could come. No, I just wanted to check because I did my first ever solo show in Berlin last summer, and it was like really good because I used to live there. Like it sold out, and all my friends had come, and it was going really well. Like the energy was really good. But there was this couple in the front row that like obviously weren't really enjoying themselves, and I was like, well, why would they come to my show? There's no other comedians on. It's just me. But then afterwards in the bar, my friend Danny introduced me to them. She was like, this is so and so and so and so, and then they left, and she was like, we were supposed to have a threesome tonight, but I cancelled it for your show. And I was like, well, no wonder they hated me. They were a German couple as well. They'd probably been planning this threesome for like 6 months. And instead of having a threesome, they had to watch a British lady they'd never heard of do an hour of stand-up. To be fair, though, they were quite nice about it. The guy was like, oh, you're like best comedian I've ever seen in Berlin. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. Do you go to a lot of comedy? And he said, no, I've seen one other comedian. It's not the validation I need. I will say I don't know if my show is for everyone. My show is called A Messiah Comes. It's about the fact that I feel like I am like in charge of saving the world. Anyone else? Just me. Okay, great. Fine. But I have this like deep feeling that I'm in charge of saving the world, and that's called a Messiah Complex. And I wanted to call it Messiah Complex, but a very bad comedian got there first in 2014. Some people know who that is, yeah. But don't worry, it's been 10 years and comedy's fine now. That's not what's going on. But I've called my show what he should have called his, which is A Messiah Comes, sometimes not consensually. You know, but I actually had a plan for this year. My plan for this year was actually to make men afraid in the streets. Yeah. So to the end, I have now started catcalling men. And it's going really well. I cycled past this guy the other day and he was looking at some shelves someone had left out, so I shouted out, nice wood! Yeah, and he jumped. Because men aren't used to being catcalled. And then it's gone up another level recently because my best friend Grace, when she got pregnant with twins, she got given a van by her work so she'd get around more easily. So we were driving around North London in a white van. I was rolling down the window shouting out things like, hey, sweet legs. Made her drive me to the Arsenal Stadium so I get loads of men all in one go. And then now I want to take it up another further level because comedy did turn out to be full of predator creeps. Oh my God, who knew? Yeah, so the way I was going to make these male comedian afraid is I was going to start masturbating in front of them. Yeah, because I'm thinking if I masturbate in front of comedians, maybe I too would have a Grammy. But the slight problem is when I masturbate, it's like not very aggressive. It's like not very scary. Like when I masturbate, it's very much like, And I don't think that's going to scare anyone. So now I'm looking for someone who can teach me to squirt. You know, so I can squirt on these comedians before they go on stage and say something like, oh, you're not very funny, but you're very pretty. Have a great set. That has been mine. You guys have been absolutely lovely.
Okay, Cheka, everybody. Come take a seat. Kate, thank you so much. That was fantastic. Do you have an I'm a Feminist but for us to start us off?
Yes, a recent one.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm a feminist, but on Saturday I didn't text my friend back until 5 p.m. even though we were supposed to go to brunch because there was a man in my bed.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well, that got the audience going.
We thought we liked her.
No, they love you. Tell us about your show. We've really enjoyed the part that we've seen.
Yeah.
What made you write it, and what's the thrust of it?
So basically, yeah, I just have this saviour complex, and I've had it my whole life. And I kind of thought everyone had it. I thought we were all out here trying to save the world. Turns out, absolutely not. Who knew? But yeah, so it's basically about that, and I'm trying to explore where that comes from. Spoiler alert, might be from my mother, like the best gifts are. Anyone else got a mum? So yeah, that's kind of the general vibe. And then, some sex jokes because I do enjoy it. So that's the vibe, yeah.
Great. I have a similar thing. I think I have a Moses complex. I invented this myself. I don't think it is. But because I'm adopted, Moses was baby saved and then put in a basket of reeds and sent down, and then later he had to stand up and go, let my people go and part the Red Sea. As a child, I always thought, well, that's obviously coming for me. I'm going to have to save my people.
Yeah.
Because I was saved as a baby and therefore I am saved for something special. And I do believe it's probably why I started The Guilty Feminist.
Yeah.
So I could say, patriarchy, let my people go.
Yeah. Bust through the Red Sea of the patriarchy.
Yeah, it's kind of a joke. It's kind of not.
It's beautiful, though.
It's a little bit of Moses complex, I think. Of like, it's not like I think I'm special. I think if you were saved, you should do something with being saved. It's like it's a responsibility. It's not like, oh, I'm amazing. It's more like, well, you can't just then lie there. You've got to get up and do something because you got this extra go. So it's. I mean, you can applaud if you like. It's probably not healthy, but it's probably good. It's probably good for us all to think. It's probably good for us all to think we're lucky.
Yeah,
we're in a time and a place where we do have opportunity and can get some influence and crack on and give it a go.
Yeah, it's the whole like, I'm not free until all of us free.
But, yes, absolutely.
I'm all the women, even if my shackles are very different, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
But not blah, 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 better.
But it probably also has to be watched as well, because you can't start believing you are somehow...
Oh, no. What? Can you not?
I feel like it's got to be done in balance. You've got to check yourself and go, also... You're just a person, and you've got to get through life. So I'm really interested to see how you navigate. How you navigate that in A Messiah Comes.
Yeah.
Now, I thought it was very guilty feminist. Anything you'd like to tell us about why it's guilty, why it's feminist?
So it's feminist, I think, because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think the birth of a man that thinks he's God is actually that rare. But this is the first time a woman has thought so too. So that's very feminist. And then the guilty part is there is a lot of just my adventures of various sexual escapades I've had with men and one woman in the show. So that's the guilt. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we really look forward to seeing more about it. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the show, or tell us about you, or tell us about why we should go?
Because I'm sorry, I'm about to just big myself up here, which
go for it. Yes.
Because I won an award last year, the Funny Woman Award. Thank you. So it was a bit of a like, if you're gonna do your first time, your debut at Edinburgh, as they call it, you should do it. Following from that award. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it, but I'm trying to do it in like the least pressure way, because Edinburgh can be like, wink, a little bit of a scam. So I've gone for like the least prestigious venue, free fringe, no production company, no agent, all of that. So I'm trying to do it very indie as possible. So I really need you to buy tickets so that I can like that prove that you can do it that way in the industry, fingers crossed. Okay. So I'm trying to like do it like,
Great. So it's the show is A Messiah Comes. It's going to be on at Hoots at Potterrow every day at 12:25. Yeah. And is it free fringe?
Yes.
So can people buy tickets up front?
You can buy tickets up front, but you can also just turn up and not buy a ticket.
How much tickets up front?
£5.
So if you want to be guaranteed a seat, is it a small venue?
Yes, 25 seats.
25 seats. If you want to be guaranteed a seat, buy a £5 one up front. If you're happy to queue up and take your chances, you just turn up. It's completely free, but it's free at the point of use. At the end, will you be there with a hat saying...
I will ask them probably for money.
Yeah.
But they don't have to give it to me. That's the beauty.
The free fridge is great because it's like, give us what you think it's worth.
Yeah.
If you think... I enjoyed it, thank you, but, I think it's worth a thank you and a handshake. You can give that.
That's fine. I'm a socialist. Comedy can be for everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you want to give £1 or £5 or £10 or Bruce, £1,000.
That would be great, £1,000.
I think...
Come every day.
Absolutely. If you wanted to do that, Bruce, then no one would stop you. Bruce is getting into being a theatre and comedy angel, but only for feminist acts.
Oh, I love that.
So it's really, really nice.
Okay, great. I'll see you every day. Looking forward to my money.
He is in show business. He's in as like shows like conferences and is it like shows where people buy a stand? Yeah, okay. So I could come along and do... so if you're a woman in finance, you could come along and you could have... Or like a financial company, you could bring a stand and say, this is why we want to recruit women, or this is what we have going on, or something like that. Yeah, I haven't made that up. Excellent. Well, that is show business. That is show business. But it's not as fun as Edinburgh. So he's moving over.
Yes.
Yeah. Just as a side note, I think it's good
Do
for
you want to be my producer, maybe? Because I don't have one.
Did you-
It's not very feminist if Bruce is suddenly my producer, though, is it?
Well, I think it is, because the patriarchy...
Because if he's going to pay me $1,000 a day, actually, that would be most feminist.
I don't know that he is... I may have overpromised what Bruce is going to do. But
that sounds about right.
I feel with his, heft of his company and influence, he could probably come up with a marketing budget or something like that.
Yeah? Do you want to do all my marketing? Okay, great, because I don't have a PR marketing. Okay, Bruce is on it. This has really solved my problem. 2 weeks out before Edinburgh. And
excellent. Well, that's
sorted.
what we aim to do. That's what we absolutely aim to solve your problems. So, Bruce, if whatever you come up with, and whatever you are going to, just come and see us at the dressing room, or email me at guiltyfeminist@gmail.com and say it's Bruce from the show, and I will 100% be there for the Zoom that we're going to have tomorrow.
Okay, great.
Excellent. I believe in it. I believe in it. That was wonderful. Will you be bringing the show to Edinburgh, or will there be any future life for it?
I hope so. I have only one planned gig for after Edinburgh, just because it's a bit Messiah themed. My mum's letting me do it in the church in our local town. Because she has the keys.
Excellent. Does she know the content?
She does not know the content of the show,
Because it sounds a bit like, Mum, it's a show about how I feel I need to save the world, and it's very Jesus-based.
Yeah. And my mum was like,
my upbringing.
Yeah, you could do it at Holy Trinity, Bradford-on-Avon. So,
Excellent.
Anyone in Bradford-on-Avon, then send them my way.
Excellent. So if you have a venue, if you're listening to this at home, or you have a venue you think it would be good for, or you'd like it to come to your hometown, it's Kate Cheka, and the show is called A Messiah Comes. But if you will be in Edinburgh, hoots at Potter every day at 2:25. The incredible Kate Cheka, everybody!
Thank you.
Our next act is a comedian, podcaster, and storyteller. Her show, Anything for You, will be on at 4:45 every day at Monkey Barrel 1. Please welcome to the stage a very good friend of mine and a truly incredible comic. It's Sara Barron!
Hi, how are you guys? Are you well? Yes? Here's what we'll do. It's this funny beat where we have to settle into each other. So I'll quickly ask you again how you are. What I would love in response this time is I'd love the amount of whooping that you already know I need just based on the accent. Okay. I said, "What's up, guys? Are you good?" There it is. Okay. Do you have any other Americans in, by the way? Oh, where in the States are you from? Okay, I'm from New York, so I'm better than you. And it's so interesting. I don't even mean that. I just knew that it would get a laugh. And you live here, or you're just visiting? Live here. Okay. How long have you been here for? 20 years. 20 years. Long enough to work out they don't love us, correct? So here's what I want to share with you. Perhaps you've had a similar experience, no promises. So my parents came to visit recently, and they had just celebrated their 52nd wedding anniversary, which in America, that alone would just get a round of applause. You guys don't give a shit. Which I respect, because it's not fucking romantic. It's 52, she kind of hates him, but kind of, And what it is, at this point, 52 years in my parents' marital dynamic, it's like my mom is a celebrity and my dad is the long-suffering assistant. That's sort of the vibe. So she has him running errands, and the tone she uses isn't great with him. Okay. So they're over here, and at one point we're walking together, and because my parents are elderly now, they tend to trail behind. I want someone to invent reins, but for the elderly. So I can be heel. So I'm here with my husband together, and then my parents are back here. And at one point, I overhear my mom. I hear her just yelling at my dad. His name's Joe. So I just hear, Joe! I thought, oh my God. What horrible thing has he done to warrant this aggression? I turned around to check. He'd fallen over. 80-year-old man, just like tummy time. Not as cute when they're 80. So I hoist my father's body up, because my mom's like too enraged. She's just gonna leave him there. So I hoist my father's body. I then go tattle on my mom to my husband. I go, she's over there. She's fucking yelling at him for falling over. My husband doesn't skip a beat. He just goes, remind you of anyone? It is never a compliment if your spouse compares you to a living parent. Do you understand? Because they're never talking about a good part, are they? They always zone in on like the most psychotic aspect of your mother's personality. And I'm better than my mom, you guys. My mom gets annoyed at my dad for existing. I just get annoyed at my husband for like hurting himself. Target demo. Okay. So listen, the other day we're both downstairs but separate rooms. So I'm kitchen, he's living room. I overhear him go like this. I just hear, ow! On instinct, I go like this. I go, Jesus fucking Christ. Now, he doesn't see that. That's a little private moment that I get to have. So then I do what I'm supposed to do. I do what he fucking wants me to do. I go, you all right? I don't care. But I'm not an amateur. I know the fucking script I'm reading from, yes? So I go, you all right? He goes, I stubbed my toe really bad. And then again on instinct, I didn't say this to him, but I'm just sharing with you the automatic response within my body was, go fuck yourself. I can't. You know what I really wanted to say? I wanted to be like, would you be making that same noise if I wasn't in the house? Fucking attention seeker.
Sara, Barr, and everybody.
Oh, it's a different mic. You know. I'm sorry, I haven't done 5 in a while. So I figured I would bow.
It's good. It's good. I was just going to say, there's a woman over here that's really married.
Yeah.
Because the laughter coming from her was visceral. It was like she was you.
Yeah. She hates her husband.
Yeah. Like, who was that laughing so hard? Like, everyone was laughing. I don't mean to say to you, Sarah, one woman was
I understood the spirit in which it was intended.
All laughing, but one person was laughing. So who was really enjoying it? Everyone's pointing.
Don't point at you. Both fucking enjoyed it. 4:45 at the Monkey Barrel in Edinburgh every day. Do you understand? I'm glad to have spoken to them on that level. I think there's like a weird thing going on. You're a married lady. I don't know if this will relate, but there's something happening where like women, like husbands are kind of like, you know, we have lovely husbands. They just kind of like love their wives, but the wives hate their husbands. And it's interesting. And again, I'm not talking about horrible, toxic pieces of shit because the hatred to them is like da hecky. But I'm talking, I bet your husbands are lovely. My husband's lovely, but he tires me out. And I'm angry at him, and I believe that she is in a similar position.
Yes. I'm going to come to Bronwyn now. Bronwyn is, I don't know if you're married to Bruce or with just a partner of Bruce.
Where's Bruce?
Married?
Oh, you're Bruce. Yeah. People look like what they are. I knew who you were.
Are you married to Bruce, Bronwyn?
I'd say
Legally?
Not legally. No.
Not legally married.
So
not
cool.
Married. Yeah. You're a couple, but you're not married. Yeah.
Do you not support? I mean, I wouldn't get married. I married a British guy because I wanted the free healthcare. But you're just like, why would you do it otherwise in a way? Is that your feeling? Do you want to come up on stage and just talk about your relationship in great detail?
They don't. I'm just going to say, Bronwyn, did you enjoy it? Yeah. Okay. So that's all we need to know. Any hard relates there? Not at all. No hard. She didn't relate at all.
No, they never did.
Yeah, it is a funny thing though, that isn't it? When you've been with your partner for so long. I love my husband. He's a really, really lovely man. But there are times when I'm sure I irritate him. You know, like it's just the thing of they're always there. You know. It's the alwaysness of the other person. And that's not a gender thing. It's just they're there. I've got friends who are, happily married lesbians, and it's the same. It's just like, you again. Like, you were there this morning, you're there this evening, and so any of their habits that irritate you just get amplified at times. Also, you wouldn't be without them, but sometimes you would.
I think what I will say that with a favor I think I do my husband is and both of us, if I may say, I think we both do a good job of friendships. I know that's an obnoxious thing to say, but like I have good friends from forever. He has good friends from forever. We both stay in touch with our friends. But when I see my friends, in under 5 minutes I see my friends and I'm like, here's all my massive emotional baggage onto you. My friends are really shouldering my burden as well as my husband. My husband goes out with like a best friend. They'll have a dinner for 4 hours. He'll come home. I'll be like, how's Chris? He'll be like, fine. I'll go, what did you talk about? He'll go, nothing. They don't get into it, and then all of it rests on us, and that's why we're more tired.
That is so true. I have had whole routines about this because that is a gendered thing, and it's almost it's more than a trend. It's an extraordinary thing that Tom will go and play pool with a friend of ours, and he'll come back and I'll go, how's John? He'll go, yeah, good. And I'll go, how's the divorce? And he'll go, oh, it didn't come up.
Right.
And I'm like, what do you mean it didn't come up? You're playing pool for 4
They're
hours.
like talking about like comics and
I'm like,
films.
what did you talk about? And he goes, just pool. And I'm like, that's what you're doing. It's not what you're talking about. And then you must have talked about something else. And he'll go, Doctor Who. That's not that talk. And meanwhile, I've gone off and had coffee with Sara. Inside 20 minutes, I know the exact state of the divorce, whether there's hope of reconciliation, how the children are taking it, has anyone moved on sexually. He knows nothing. He's forgotten they're getting a divorce. That's the truth. He's fucking forgotten. You see the panic on his face. He goes, is John getting divorced? I'm like, we spent hours last night talking about this and saying we hope they stay together, but we also understand and blah, blah, blah. No, he wasn't talking. He wasn't even listening. I was talking. He was thinking about Doctor Who and pool. Love you, darling. He's right back behind that door. You know that, don't you?
But he can take it. That's the whole thing. These guys have. I never love when your husband is the first applause break in my set. But I accept it, Tom.
No, he did it. If you're listening at home, Tom popped his head out, very happily did a jazz hand. It was like he couldn't give a fuck about my rage, and that's what they enjoyed. That's what they enjoyed. So tell us about your show, like what made you write it and what do you love about it and what are you enjoying?
Okay. So here's the thing. I say this in a ooh kind of way. If I tell you what inspired me to write it, it will ruin the big twist that I've planted in my show. Ooh.
Zoe Brownstone's already advertised that her ending might be different in 3 weeks because of her life. It's the truth of her life. So is it like that?
No.
Okay.
It is broadly about, it is a show about my mother. And I think the thing is I love her.
Yeah.
She's been a good mother to me.
Sure.
No one fills me with rage faster than she can. Yeah. She can look at me wrong, and I'm like, what the fuck? She thought, like, I go 0 to 60 with her. Yeah. I go 0 to 60 with my husband, but of course, none of this is my fault. Do you understand?
No, of course not.
And what I started thinking about was like, and I hate people, no offense if it's you, whatever. Like, I hate people who are like, my mom and I are like, man. And you're like, fuck you with you or your mom. If I can be half the woman that my mother was, if you're half the woman your mother was, she fucking fucked you. Like, you should be twice the woman she was. I don't love women who just love their moms. And, she makes me insane, Deborah. Yes. And it is, when we hear mother and child, how many books have been written about this? How much have we talked about that dynamic? An unknowable amount. But no one is here for those of us in middle age with these ladies who are fucking almost 80 now, because these ladies will not die. My mom keeps going and going and going. She's so fucking healthy and resilient, it's insane. she's gonna, and I'm not even touching when she's gonna live to like 105. Do you understand? And basically, I'm not even afraid. But I also understand that when she goes, it'll like ruin me mentally forever.
Oh yeah.
And it is this. And so I am gonna try and construct a whole show around my rage at this lady who is arguably the only person on the planet who would flat out die for me, but is the only one who makes me want to murder her. So this kind of thing. With a twist.
Excellent.
With a twist.
And is your mother invited to see this show?
I cannot answer that question, Deborah. But basically, no.
Well, look, I'm very excited to see it because I think it's a very relatable thing to know that your mother would die for you, possibly kill for you, and it might be the only unconditional love that you have. Like, my father's gone, so it's probably the only unconditional love that I have. But, of course, there are times when, a bit like your partner, you love them more than anyone, and also the irritation or the rage that you can feel, the frustration you can feel, it can be greater than for anyone. So this is a hotly relatable show. Just give us a cheer if you relate to the show. Yeah, absolutely. This is why I have no children. This is the reward for being a mother. This is the fucking reward. You push this parasite out of your body. It literally wants to suck off your nipples.
I nursed for 2 years. 2 years, thank you.
And then you have to teach it to, like, hold its stupid head up and use a spoon so it doesn't put it in its eye. And the reward for that, is somebody seeing your name come up on their phone and going, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, that's the reward. The reward is they'll go to Edinburgh for an hour and stand on stage every day and go, I can't stand her. I've got to love her, but I can't. That's the reward. If you're thinking about having children, think fucking again. That's what I would say.
It's almost like for the planet I did it to deter people from procreating anymore.
Listen,
she's a hero.
She's a hero, but she's a hero. And also, you know, when our mums go, and I'm touching all the wood as I say that, as if that's going to do anything. That
Jesus, if you're listening.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep expecting Kate Cheka to pop her head through and go, nice wood. It'll devastate me, it'll break me, it'll take me years to get over. I'll never really get over it. So, you know, it's a really complicated thing, which makes it a great subject for comedy. And Sara, it never disappoints. You go and see her, you will laugh for an hour. She's so likable for somebody who says so many mean things. You're the most likable person for the person who says the most mean things.
Okay,
like,
that's
you know,
the context that we were missing. That's
it's
the
true.
context.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
She can say the worst stuff, and everyone's just like, "We love you." That is a talent. That is
really
a skill.
kind. That's so
It's
nice
a talent
to say to me.
and a
Thank
skill.
you.
She can do it all. So where is your show, and when is your show?
Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah.
Every day.
Not
Mondays. 4:45 p.m. How civilized at the Monkey Barrel.
A charming tea time show. It's called Anything for You. It's the incredible Sara Barr, everybody! And to close our show, she's a Guilty Feminist favourite, a comedian, comedy writer and podcaster, and her show New Stuff will be in Edinburgh on the 19th, 20th and 21st of August, only at Monkey Barrel. Please put your hands together and make incredible Guilty Feminist wooing noises for Alison Spittle!
How we doing? Are we all having a brat girl summer? Huh? Yeah, my brat girl summer consists of me Googling freezing my eggs while eating scampi fries. Because they're the same colour, you know, it works out perfect. I used to think that when I was a young person, when I was a teenager, I used to think that I was asexual. But then I found out I was just growing up in a village. I just went to the next county and I was like, oh, here it is. Okay. Oh. If you're curious what the county is, Offaly. That won't be funny to anyone except people from Offaly. I once said, I've heard it said before, dance like no one's watching. And I think that's the worst advice that you could be given ever. Like, to dance like no one's watching, you'd be dancing like shit. Like, I think truly what you should do is every time you dance, you should dance like someone's got a gun up to your mother's mouth and is saying, I will shoot unless you move me. Let's not waste our time. Let's just have a good time. Oh, Lord. So, my new show is going to be new stuff, and I'm going to do like a proper show next year. So if you come to the new show in Edinburgh, you'll hear all the names, because I won't have changed the names, and I'll probably cry, because the last few previews I've done that in. So if you want to see someone cry, come along to that. And I've been I've been asked a lot of questions about going to Edinburgh, especially like since Baby Reindeer has come out. And they ask me, oh, are you afraid because of Baby Reindeer? Like, no. No, the last few shows that I've done, the only real people I've talked about was someone that I angrily sang karaoke to. Do you know what I mean? You can't make a Netflix show out of that. I've enjoyed Baby Reindeer. I liked it. It was good fun. Well, no, actually, that's not the right word for that. Harrowing. Very harrowing. But I did enjoyed it. And one of the things is, like, I got a text off my friend who's fat and has curly hair. And she was watching it too. And she said, new name unlocked, right? And she was right. I went on a train the next day. Someone called me a pound shop Martha. Grim, right? But the thing is, I was watching a show, and because there was a fat person in the show, I had this weird thing where I was just bracing myself every time. Like, every time Martha did something bad, like, you know, hurt the main character or assault people or whatever, I was like bracing myself, right? And I was thinking, why am I bracing myself? And I felt, I watched the whole show, and at the end I realised not once did any character call her a fat bitch. And I was surprised. Like, I felt like I was watching it, I'm like, am I being gaslit here? I get called a fat bitch if I stand on the wrong side of the escalator. Oh, that's supposed to be funny, don't worry. Yeah, you're all a bit fucked up by that. I fucked up, haven't I? So, the Edinburgh show, cut that out. Is that all right? Well, fuck it. I don't care. I got some short jokes and that, and I'm working on it. I'm going to sit down, and we're done. Right, thank you.
Alison Spittle, everybody! So, Alison, Guilty Feminist listeners have loved your comedy for a long, long time, and we've seen your unbelievably beautiful shows. And this time you're going to Edinburgh with a show called New Stuff because you are developing material.
Yeah, I'm considering calling the show Fat Bitch, though. That's what I want to call it. Genuine. I'd like to call it that. Yeah, Fat Bitch or something else. We'll see.
Okay.
But at the moment, that's what's in my head. Yeah.
So the show eventually might be called
Fat Bitch.
Yeah. I find I'm not going to be able to ask for a ticket for it though.
Oh, wait, really? Why not?
I'll be really struggle. I'd be like, oh, hello, could I have 2 tickets for the one with
Fat
Alison
Bitch,
Spittle?
yeah.
The one with Alison Spittle, please. Alison Spittle stand-up show, I think I would say.
What are you going to say? Curvy? What other euphemism can we use? Can I get a ticket, please, for curvy bitch, please? Can I get a ticket for plus-sized bitch? Actually, plus-sized bitch would be a good one. We're spitballing here. We're spitballing. Yeah.
So tell us about the show. What are you writing?
Oh, so I'm kind of excited. It's a bit weird. Like, genuinely, I know when I was doing that, you know, I should have saved that bit for chatting to Deborah. I kind of went into a chat with the audience and you were like, I don't know how you want me to react here. But basically, the show is going to be about my relationship with myself. Because basically, how do I put this? I was in hospital earlier this year. And I have to lose weight. That's what they've said. So I have to do it. And it's really weird because I've spent 15 years of my life kind of accepting myself and avoiding stuff like this. And now I have to actively engage with it. And what's fucked up is, like, it's taken up every every moment of my brain is thinking about this, and it's really annoying, but also I'm finding bits really funny. So I'm hoping, because it's funny. Oh yeah, because I forgot the punchline. Should have ended on the punchline of that bit about baby reindeer. Sorry about it. So like, I really enjoyed baby reindeer, but like, the thing is, they must have had a meeting where they were like, we cannot refer to this woman's weight at all. That's fat phobic. It cannot be done. And I think they put more effort into not seeming fat phobic than they did into hiding the identities of the people involved. So that's the... Yeah, shit, why did I'm so... Do you know what happened? I got a bit scared and I was like, retreat, Deborah, my lovely Deborah. Hold me, Deborah. Because I am nervous about talking about it. It's a weird show to... Like, what the process is going to be like in Edinburgh is it's going to be a conversation because I don't know I'm living in it at the moment. I don't have the right opinions on it. I know I don't. And what I'd like to do with the work in progress and with the show next year, and this is like a thing I never say. I really know it's going to be a fucking great show because I'm scared of it. Like, I'm scared about talking about it. Like, I'm even, like, tearing up now. And it's weird. I'm also on my period. So that's... Thank you. So, like... Oh, you can? Yeah, you're fine. Oh, this is like... Oh,
it's such a complicated, big thing to talk about. But I also think it's a conversation that lots of people are probably ready to have, which is, it's not simple. It's not cut and dried.
No.
We absolutely want to live in a world where... fat people are liberated and there isn't this hard line between health and weight. But if there is a line in an individual case between health and weight, it's also not okay for people to tell you what you can't do with your body. So it's so complicated.
I know, and I have friends who have told me, like, you don't owe people health. Do you know what I mean? And they make a good point. And it's about my personal thing, but also what I find weird about the health industry and about losing weight and all this shit is that, like, a lot of the questions that you're asked is always about you. So it's always about how you feel about yourself. And what was really fucked up, like, genuinely, is that I realised that I don't feel bad about myself, and I don't think I did. And I think, like, whatever feelings I had was, like, a thing that I felt I owed people. Do you know what I mean? For existing. And when it came down to it, I'm actually fine with myself. And that's weird. But now I have to change. Do you know what I mean? But now it's annoying because now it's like, I only realised that when because I've put such a big effort into, like protecting myself and stuff and feeling how I feel about me as a person. And what annoys me is, like, in these surveys and stuff, it's always about how you feel about you, but there's never any questions about the outer world. Like, it's fucked up because like an element of me, I want to change because I want to save my leg, but there's also a part of me that wants to change because I don't want to be called a fat bitch on the train. Do you know? Oh, it's going to be a barrel of laughs. I'm selling it.
It will be.
I mean, have you ever had a comedy show pitched to someone openly crying?
I mean,
I wouldn't go to that show. I'd be like, she's not ready.
No,
and I'm not. And that's what Edinburgh's going to be about. Is about me
you're
figuring
doing
out that
3
stuff.
dates where you're developing the material.
Yeah, developing the material. And I've also got a series on BBC Radio 4 that I'm recording in September. So that hour will be dedicated to doing up the material for that radio show too. If you want to come to it, it's on the 23rd and 3rd of September in Up the Creek. And if you're a listener, like a Guilty Feminist, because I want you there, because there's free tickets given out, and mostly people that take the free tickets are people who want tickets to bigger shows. They wouldn't have heard of me. They won't give a shit. So if you put the code GLITTERBABE in this thing, then I'll know it's you and you can come.
Okay, so Glitter Babe.
Glitter Babe.
So what's the URL for the Radio 4 tickets?
Oh, bollocks. I don't know a URL. It's like, sorry.
But where do they put Glitter Babe then?
Oh, shit. So what they can do is Google Alison Spittle.
Alison Spittle.
Petty Please Radio 4 tickets, right?
Petty Please.
Petty Please is the name of it.
Petty, please.
Oh, yeah, because I'm a petty bitch. What's my favourite yogurt?
I don't know.
Petty Faloo, baby.
Hey. Okay.
It's actually Muller Fruit Corner, but it doesn't work as a joke.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they have to Google Petty Please.
Yeah.
And then apply for tickets. And there's a box where they can put in Glitter Babe.
Glitter Babe, it'll be like a...
And that says, I'm a Guilty Feminist listener or someone who loves Alison's material.
Yeah, that's great.
And then you'll get because Alison wants some supporters, not just anyone who's going to go in for BBC tickets. So if you would like to go to those shows, they are on the
23rd of September and the 30th of September in Up the Creek.
23rd and 30th of September here in London at a comedy club called Up the Creek. So if you could go and support those, and then your laugh will be immortalised on Radio 4.
Can I just say one more thing before we stop?
Yes,
Deborah, thank you so much for allowing a space for comedians to promote their show. I really appreciate it.
Delighted to do it.
And thank you so much as well for allowing me the space to feel like I can talk about this stuff.
Oh my God, yeah. I want to talk about this more, and I want you to come on as you develop the show. You can develop material here, and we can hear more about it, because we will definitely hold space for this. It's a very important thing. It's personal.
Yeah.
It's also something that a lot of people find exhausting and constant and terrifying and all of those things, and they trust you as someone who can talk about it sensitively with a great deal of feminism.
And the thing is, I'm going to fuck up. I know I'm going to fuck up in the whips. I know that, and I want that to be a conversation. So, if you're a listener and you've heard bits, it's not like you're cancelling me or anything like that. But send me a message and go, I have a different perspective on that. Because that's what I'm most open to at the moment, is because I just have my own thoughts about stuff. And I'm wrong on loads of stuff. Mm-hmm. And while I'm here, free Palestine. Right, done. Thank you.
Thank you. If you're in Edinburgh on the 19th, 20th, 21st of August, Monkey Barrel, go and see Alison Spittle. If you're in Edinburgh on the 12th, 13th or 14th of August, the Guilty Feminist will be up there. I think we're at the Gilded Balloon. And we will have comedians who are up there on the show, guests who are up there on the show. We'll be talking about Guilty Feminist stuff, but it'll be a real laugh. We'll have singers on as well. It'll be great. 12th, 13th and 14th of August at the Edinburgh Fringe. We'll also be back here at the London Podcast Festival on the 8th of September. And you get to see other podcasts if you come to the London Podcast Festival as well. It's a really good time. And Bruce, if you've got any ideas genuinely for how we can help, then we are genuinely interested in them. Big round of applause for the incredible Zoe Brownstone, Jessica Regan, Cheka, Sara, Barr, Alison Spittle, and Bruce. You have been listening to The Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Francis-White, and my very special guests, Zoe Brownstone, Jessica Regan, Cheka, Sara, Barr, and Alison Spittle. Recording engineer is Chris Sharp. The Guilty Feminist theme tune was composed by Mark Hodge. The producer was Tom Smith. Mr. Richard Craft, Gina Dicio, Zainab Mohammed, everyone at this place, as well as all of you for listening. For more information about this and other episodes, visit guiltyfeminist.com. Now, Alison, because you are a regular co-host, if I were to do the opening and total and closing titles for this episode, would you bring
the hand stuff.
Would you bring them to a climax using only your hands?
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
Sometimes I use my mouth. That's definitely been done before, hasn't it? I'm sorry.
No one's ever said it for good reason. It's disgusting. Okay, I'm going to say live from King's Place in London.
The Guilty Feminist is provided exclusively from Acast. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.